Yes, we are live. So, hello and welcome everyone to the fourth episode of the Indian Football Casuals. Today we have with us today Soumik and Srijon will be joining us for this episode. And today, for the topics we have the wrap up of the Durand Cup. We look at how the Durand Cup went. What are the talking points of the uh, cup, and then we'll also talk about the post final game violence that happened, unfortunately, which shouldn't have happened. And the last thing is the national team games, where we will discuss about the senior men's team Kings Cup, the under 23, the Asian Cup qualifiers, and the SAF Championship for under 16 boys. So let's start. Srijon, your thoughts on the Derby final?
Well, to start off, obviously heartbreak. Well, obviously, for obvious reasons. Okay, no issues. But yeah, the game was good. Uh, I like the way we played. We actually gave Mohun Bagan Super Giants a run for their money. Uh, Sadly, we couldn't capitalize on the advantage that we had. 10 men versus 11. And it's often the saying in football. I don't know about how many people have said this in Indian football, but those who join us today and are familiar with European football would know that uh, a 10 men versus 11 often turns out different than an 11v11. And I think we fell into that trap. So well played by Mohun Bagan. Overall, I'm happy with the performance. Sadly, obviously, we got so many chances, yet we couldn't capitalize on them. They got one shot on target, one goal. Dimitri Petratos, we know how good a player he is. He was influential last season too. So yeah, and the major point for me would be, Jordan NC going off the pitch. Pardo and the
Yes.
defense, they were like, they were just inviting Petratos to shoot. And he was like, okay, I'll have a go, son. And well, then the rest is history, as they say. So yeah,
Jordan
heartbreak.
LC will be a big miss for you guys. I mean, what I'm hearing is he'll not be registered throughout the season. So,
Obviously, see, it's an ACL, and like a player like Jordan, who's already suffered two ACLs previously, so it's his third ACL tear. So we really don't know how big. Like the complete MRI scan hasn't been public, so we don't know how serious the injury is. But let's pick it out. If even if it's a minor ACL, if it's an because it's confirmed it's an ACL. So even if it's a minor ACL, let's take 6 months. So till January, there's no point of getting Jordan. And the things I'm hearing, so it's no point of thinking of Jordan now. We have to think past him. It's a huge blow for us, obviously. Even in a short span, he sort of became a leader in the defense area that we've been suffering for in the past few years. But then that's the way football is. You got to adapt, you got to change, you got to move on.
right, right. So,
But
make your
over,
thoughts on.
but overall, I'm really happy with the way Carlos adapted. He played, and still we have some time. I believe at least
3 weeks.
yeah, 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks before the ISL season starts. So maybe we get better. Some of our players are lacking match fitness, so I hope they can cope with that. And yeah, we'll get better.
Yes, right. So we move to Soumik. Soumik, your thoughts on the final? You got the revenge you wanted of the first game. And tell
I
your
just,
thoughts.
I didn't have any words when that Petratos goal went in. For some reason, we actually looked better before, okay, after getting the red card. For me, it was actually the turning point of the game when Thapa got the red. We all know that this Mohun Bagan team can defend well. They have quite a few quality defenders in Anwar Ali. Vishal Kath has been very much reliant under the goal. Uh, you see, he also played a big role in this Durand Cup and also in last year's ISL. From there, we also had Anwar we signed, who had an exceptional tournament, not only just protecting the goal or protecting the defense. Uh, he also scored, I think, 3 goals, two in AFC Cup, one against the all important against Mumbai City FC. He showed that he is no less than a foreigner at this stage, and I think in near future he might also join a foreign league. He should join a foreign league. That will be better for him. Uh, but the best signing of the season up until this point for Mohun Bagan has been surely Hector Yuste. Yuste, a 35-year-old who was literally trolled for being 35. A guy who was recently playing against Cristiano Ronaldo and Manchester United. People thought that he will be too old for ISL, maybe. But he just came in and played in the defense within the 24 hours of landing in Calcutta with only one practice session under his belt, and played really well throughout the season up until this point. Apart from them, we can speak about Subhasis. Subhasis had a bit of a underwhelming tournament, but then in the final he was actually suffering from a fever. Uh, when I looked at that article, where he's mentioned that Bose was actually suffering from a fever, and if you guys remember, he went on to clear a ball and fell on the ground at the final few minutes of the match, and he said my vision was actually getting blurred at that point of time. So you always want your captain to lead you, to set examples for the players. He did that. uh, a win against East Bengal is always a win against them, no matter how worse condition they are in or at what condition they are in. The joy is always special, and a win in the final is always a great one. With that, also, Bagan has become the highest most winning side in the Durand Cup. Also, they won their 17th Durand Cup. Overall, it has been a pretty good start, but as we know, Ferrando also described it as a pre-season tournament, and I think they should be grounded as they have ISL and AFC Cup in front of them. In AFCs, they will meet Odisha and Basundhara and Majia, which will be tough games, both home and away. So let's just see. Overall, I am a really happy person currently with the win and the way the team performed after being 10 men down. Also, they defeated Mumbai and Goa in the previous two matches. The Mumbai game was really good. The Goa match, there were quite a few controversies, but people tend to forget how Sadiku struck that goal, which was probably the actually best goal of the match. So let's just say I am quite happy at this moment and carry on with our stream.
Right. Srijon, there is a question for you from Parker Gamer. You
Okay.
want to reply on it?
Okay. So, Dillian Fox, well, obviously he has experience. He's played in a couple of teams. But if you want me as an EB fan to judge and how Carlos Quadrat plays, I feel a better option would be Ferran Sarnaut. He's played for FC Goa. He knows the ball playing way. Quadrat likes, one of his CVs at least having a better ball playing skill. That is what Jordan was. If we see Jordan's highlights from the A League, he's some of he's one of those players, not some, sorry. He's one of those players that always wants to play a forward pass rather than the usual centre back passes of side passes and back passes. So yeah, well, if no one is available yet, Dylan could be an option. But if you ask me, I would feel Fares Arnaut is a better option currently at this point of time. And then there are others in the market too that are doing the rounds. And yeah, obviously, is it a worth a look? Yes, it is worth a look because he's played there, he's played in India, he knows the teams, he knows the players. But then, what is it that we need? So what I feel is when you have centre backs, two centre back pairings, you need to have both of them as a north pole or a south pole of a magnet. Both cannot be the same attributes. So what we have with Lalchung Nanga, Indian centre back, is similar to what we will get with Dylan Fox. And it's not bad. Some coaches prefer that, both of your center backs having the same traits. It all depends. Maybe if it was Steven Constantine, he would have gone with Dylan Fox. What I feel with Carlos Quadrat is, he wants someone at least in the back line because our other options are Harmanjot Singh Khabra, Nishu Kumar, and Mandar Rao Desai. Okay, and Mandar, as much as I like him, I'm very vocal about him and stuff like that. But let's be realistic. He's not the Mandar Rao Desai that used to play for FC Goa. He's gone down a notch, or even Mumbai City FC. I don't know the reason, but yes, there has been a few downgrades happening. So we need a centre back that can play with the ball, that can support Saul Crespo right in front of them. So I would personally prefer Faris Arnaut, given he has ISL experience. But if you don't have any other option, then Dylan is a very good option, no doubt about that, and I won't disagree.
Uh, right. So
But that is a last option. I want to be
yes.
clear. If we don't have any other options, that is our last option. Because
We have
then again, injuries and stuff happen and stuff. So.
yes. So we have another question with Akash not available. What about LP4? We'll be discussing about the national team games in a bit later, about 10-15 minutes. After 10-15 minutes, we'll just end up with Durand Cup and then we'll get on with the national team. With the LP position is one of the agendas of today's discussion, and we'll have it. Thank you for your questions. So, right. So, moving on. So Soumik, who are the three Indian players who you think who made a mark in the Durand Cup, who played really well?
First one is surely Nanda. Nanda had a quite a big tournament for East Bengal, and he has already set the tone for the season. Uh, he is going to be their go-to man on the right-hand side, and it has been a very good signing for them up until this point. He was correctly given the Golden Ball award also, uh, and he can become East Bengal's heartthrob within this season already. Next, I think there are quite a few other players. Srikuttan from Gokulam also had a very good tournament. Uh, Anwar Ali for Mohun Bagan also had a very good tournament. If we speak about others, if we speak about others,
David Lalla Sangha.
yeah, how can I forget him? I think, yeah, he scored 6 goals, man. He has been in great form in CFL too, winning them games after games. Uh, I think a big move is already on the horizon for him.
Yes.
There are teams who are surely scouting him at this moment, and we might just see him in the ISL soon, very soon.
Okay,
Probably in the January end.
so three players that impressed me most. Soumik mentioned Nanda, and me being an East Bengal fan, I'll tell this. He scored that all important goal against Mohun Bagan, the all important goal against Northeast United. But overall, given the price tag that he's been brought in with, and the expectations and the chances that he's squandered, especially in the final, that free header, that's a free header. A bit of the basics wrong. If we talk about textbook football and stuff like that, don't want to get into that. So I'll keep Nanda out. The player that's impressed me most is obviously Daniel for Mohammedan Sporting. He's won the Golden Boot, and
They,
yes,
they,
as Soumik mentioned, I'm pretty sure there are clubs looking at him. They want to get him, and if I was Daniel or I was Daniel's agent, I would have said to him just one thing: currently, just focus on a team that gives you most playing time. You deserve proper 90 minutes game in, game out. So go to a team that can promise you that. That's the only way he can develop and maybe, reach a level that he can serve the nation better. Anwar Ali has by far been the best signing by Mohun Bagan Super Giants. With all due respect to Anirudh Thapa, Sahal Abdul Samad, Armando Sadiku, Petratos, Jason Cummings, all of them, with due respect, Anwar Ali is the best signing that has happened for Mohun Bagan Super Giants this season. He's a beast. He's very good with the ball, and well, we know what he's capable of. As Somik mentioned earlier too, he should play abroad, and I do feel he should play abroad. The only thing that is hampering that is, we all know his health condition and his heart condition, and clubs in probably Europe, Europe is very strict about, whom they let into. Not many clubs want to sign a bond. Manchester United took a risk. Manchester City took a risk signing, Sergio Aguero or Christian Eriksen. Barcelona let go of Sergio Aguero after the condition was found out. So we've seen big clubs leave out that too. So I don't know how well smaller clubs in Europe will react to that. But yes, if the opportunity comes, and if he gets an opportunity there that the club is willing to take him on board, he should. Don't think of the money yet. I know Mohun Bagan is paying you very good amount, but then there are some things in life that's bigger than money. And then the third signing that would have really impressed me is Falguni Singh for Northeast United FC. I've seen him close up in the stadium too. I've seen him out TV too, and yes, he could be the perfect answer to Northeasters midfield issues. Because if we see Northeasters midfield, particularly the central midfield, I'm not going wide in the wingers. So you have the CDM and you have Romain, the foreign CDM and the Cam. Romain and Mohammed Ali, both are sort of, contemplating or, you know, addressing each other's issues. It is Falguni that raises a question mark for the opposition team. So this season, if Falguni can play the way he's playing, the question mark could be for the opposition coaches: what do I do with him? Is he going to sit back or is he going to go forward? And the moment you have that doubt in your mind is when you've lost him. So yeah, all the other teams will feel that how did a club like Northeast United gain such a player like Falguni? He's been incredible in the I League. I know my team was behind him, but due to other reasons, we couldn't sign him. Whatever is the issue, but yeah. So yeah, those are my three picks.
okay, so my three picks would be yes, I've seen Palpuni, but my surprise pick would be the goalkeeper from downtown. I watched two of the three games of downtown, and that kid is 17 years old, and I remember them playing against FC Goa. FC Goa had stars like Nemel and Noah and the foreign striker. I mean, Noah was dancing through the left hand side, and I remember minimum. I don't know if I've lost count, but I checked because I did the live Confo kill now back then, and to my counting, it was around 12 to 13 saves that we made against the Goa side. Could only win 3-0 or 4-0 against downtown. But that guy made some astonishing 13, 14 saves. And I immediately posted in a Now group saying that this guy is something else. So my first pick would be him. Second would be David Lala Sanga, which everyone is talking about from Sporting. And the third guy would be Falguni, yes, but Parthiv Gogoi. What a guy! What a guy! He did. He started well. He didn't finish what he would have liked, or people who had expectation from him would have liked. But that guy was pretty good in the during the group stages. They were very unfortunate to miss out on the final berth. They just gave up after 75 minutes against EB in Kolkata in the in the first semi final, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, if Northeast United would have held their composure, I believe they could have gone on to probably, we don't know. They could have just gone on to win the final. And speaking of David, what Srijon said, he should go to a club where he's played in his preferred position, not out. You in Indian football, you see when the players start as a number 9 wingers, but somehow somewhere they are played as a wing back or a or a slightly wider position, not on a number 9 position. And what in one of the interaction which I was part of, one of the interaction of Sunil Chetri, which I was a part of, he said the players have to show their club coaches that yes, I can play in the number 9 position. And to be very honest, we have Manveer, we have Rahim Ali, we have all this stuff. But I believe this David guy is very good, and if he chooses a right club, just say if he goes to Goa, and with Manolo Marquez, you know that that guy, if he thinks that player is good, he'll play the player in his preferred position. You saw with Liston, you saw with Yasir, you saw with Nazri. Nazri, everybody thought that his career was over, but that season was he was a beast when they won the ISL trophy. So I believe if there is a chance, and if FC Goa are seriously contemplating, they should give it up. I understand that they have a, heritage of promoting young Goan players, but this is one bright Indian football talent. You shouldn't let him go. Yes. So
I think
that is a
I would
wrap
I would
for.
just like to add one more name. Jai Gupta from Goa has been also really good in this tournament. I think especially
Right.
against Mohun Bagan, he was really good, and he's going to be name we can watch in the ISL soon. With Manolo Marquez as Goa's head coach, we know he loves to give chances to the youngsters and to those who deserve the chances. I would really like to see how Jay develops.
So now, okay. So anything to add about series on Soumik, or shall we move to the national team games?
Well,
Will you?
the one thing I
Yeah.
want to add about Durand is Maybe next season we get in better teams from foreign, maybe. It would help clubs instead of say clubs like Tribhuvan Army. Sorry. With all due respect, I know the Indian Army is the organizer, and Nepal and Bangladesh are our allies, and we help give them out a courtesy. It would serve the Indian football fraternity even better if we invited professional clubs from nearby the region. So maybe, instead of a Bangladesh army, if we would have invited Dhaka Bhawani or Basundhara Kings, and from Nepal, say Machindra, and it would have served us better. So I hope, we look into that aspect too, so that we get in proper footballing sides. It would help the preseason for every club, no matter which club, which group they're plotted into, it would help them. And overall, well, yes, this season's Durand was, I feel, better than last season's. It's getting better and bigger as the season moves on. After the recent slump that Durand had, where big teams didn't really want to play them and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction. I just hope, you know, apart from the army institutional sides, we don't rely heavily on the institutional sides. We when we are inviting foreign squads, we could even get teams from Thailand or Myanmar. Well, I'm not sure, but yeah, Thailand, Vietnam, we could get them. So it would be better in that direction. Overall, it's really good, and I hope every ISL side at least plays their main team in the Durand so that uh, we get a better and proper tournament.
Right, right, right. So now we'll move on to the national team games. Starting off with the Kings Cup that is happening tomorrow. Uh, so we've named 23-man squad. We had no Sunil Chetri. And for some reason, Subhasis, as we all know, Srimat said today in the interview with Radio Sports that he is not well, and and that's the reason why he's not been on the plane for Thailand. And Amrinder is the second guy who's not part of the squad. The reason is not out yet in the public. Why is he out? But we've named 21-man squad, and tomorrow, as Srimat said, uh, Changde and Akash Mishra are not part. So we are efficiently left with 19 players for the game against Iraq. Iraq has some very good players, players like some Manchester United fan who are here, they must know about Zidane Iqbal, who was part of the youth setup for quite a number of years, and he left for FC Utrecht in the in this summer transfer window for a £1 million deal. So he's part of the Iraq squad, and there are many players who are playing in Europe. As far as their domestic player goes, they started their preparation 2 weeks before for this tournament. Now think a country like Iraq, who's like eighth or ninth ranked in Asia, are giving their national team a 2 week preparation camp to play against India. India is probably, if they are ninth in the Asian, among the Asian sides, we are 18th. So there is almost a double difference when you compare the national team rankings between both the sides. So yet they camp for 2 weeks, and then they are kickstarting their preparation. So on the club versus country controversy, anything you guys would like to add on? Srijon, I'll start with you.
See, first of all, let's get our priorities set. Iraq as a nation, football is the primary sport. They have gone through so much in the past decade. Actually, more than a decade. Past 2 decades. They've gone through so much: war, civil war, a hostile takeover by a terror nation, and whatever. I don't want to go into the geopolitics of it, but they've again, sort of managed to get themselves in a place. They have diaspora in Europe, which can help them perform better in football. And as the recent results also suggest, they are way better ranked than us. And if we see practically, as you mentioned, the club versus AIFF debate. So if we keep in mind the FIFA window, we don't have much windows left for us before the Asian Cup. We have one here right now, and then in November we probably have the qualifiers that are going to be played. AFC Asian World Cup and Asian Cup qualifiers. So
And
that
we
FIFA
have in
window is all.
October. We have in October when we play Mardeka Cup,
Huh.
where we
Yes,
yes.
yes. So that's a very brief span. So we don't have much left between us and the AFC Asian Cup. Iraq as a nation, they're very football oriented and they love football. So they have their priorities set. They know which where to focus on, and it's very good for them that they had this camp here, and they know the presence that it would mean to win a tournament in the international stage for the fans back home. For us, sadly, we've been dealing with mismanagement, mishandling. I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry, guys, but yes, just before the calendar was released, when the Durand calendar, the ISL calendar, everything was released, I feel AIFF, before the end of last season, should have sat down with all the clubs involved and should have, sort of mentioned that, see, this is where we stand. These are the game windows that we have. This is when the Asian Cup is going to happen in Qatar. We need our national team needs this much amount of time, so we would require players from you in this span. And I'm pretty sure if this plan was handed out in advance to the clubs, there is no club in the ISL at least or the I League that would refuse to hand over players, because that is the ultimate goal, to improve Indian football and to increase our rankings. Make us play the World Cup maybe. That is our goal ultimately. So somewhere I feel there has been a lack of communication between AIFF and the clubs. Everyone can point fingers. The clubs can point fingers, and AIFF can point fingers at the clubs. I don't want to get into that, but whatever it is, it's a mess. It's a mess currently, and not just about the Kings Cup. Okay, the Kings Cup squad was announced. Okay, fine. Subhashish played recently till the Durand final, and it's very natural that he could have picked up a knock or he's not well, and then he didn't travel. You don't want to risk your player. What's more important is even Akash Mishra getting injured and not playing. So what it means is tomorrow against Iraq, tell me if we have a left back in the squad, a proper natural left back in the squad. We don't have. If I'm not wrong. If I'm not wrong.
You are not wrong.
I think we will have to settle Asik at the left back position, or we
Exactly.
will just
Exactly. Exactly. So we don't have a natural left back in our possession. So that's the issues. And if you ask me, would you blame Mohun Bagan for playing Subhashish Bose in the Durand final? No. It's the Durand final. They haven't won the Durand in so much time. So have we. They would want a trophy for their fans. It's the first tournament. If AIFF doesn't understand this basic concept, then yes. And I don't blame AIFF also. I feel, it's the sort of change that's happened in AIFF. They want to get the entire system changed up with the new regime coming in. We are in a messy spot. I just hope every shareholder in Indian football comes together, sort of binds together, sits down, have a talk. What is that is important to us, and then maybe we move forward. And coming to tomorrow's game, well, Akash Mishra and Changte not playing is a huge blow. I have had friends and acquaintances messaging me, I think we will to win tomorrow, we will do this, that. I'll just tell you this: if we score one goal tomorrow, I'll be a happy person.
Right, right, right. So most likely will be going with a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 formation, which looks the only outcome from the players we are left with right now. And fortunately, all three of our best center backs are physically fit. They've had, apart from Anwar, everyone, Sandesh and Mehta have had quite a good amount, quite a good rest before coming onto the season. So, Soumik, anything you would like to add on the topic?
I think what Srijon said is the best way to put it. We are currently in a messy position after the highs of SAF Cup and the previous two cup tournaments where we won the trophy. This time it is looking like that we are going to come with either a bronze or empty-handed from Thailand. Uh, the match is going to be really tough, and I don't know how much Asik will be able to do at the left wing back position in an international match where we will have to play superior. We will have to play against superior opponents. It will be a very tough game for our guys. We will have to suffer, but in football we never know what can happen. If we can keep a good defensive shape and hit them on the counter, maybe who knows. But even as hopeful I am sounding right now, I think even a 2-0 or 3-0 loss, I will take that with everything at this point. And to put how things are working right now, I am just looking at the under 23 qualifiers and our preparations, and I am getting really much disappointed how nation like us can go to a tournament with this much less preparation. Uh, if you just see the under 23 category, it is the least looked after category in Indian football. We never play any kind of friendlies. Uh, we have MOUs with every with many big nations, right? For technical support, we conducted the semi-finals and finals of Santosh Trophy in Saudi Arabia. We could have easily just play. We could have easily just asked them to play with our junior teams. That would have been a very good match for the under 23 sides. But you see, every other team, they play their under 23 sides in the FIFA windows. Uh, Apart from the under 17 team or under 16 team, we don't have friendlies for any other team. Maybe a few for the under 18 or under 19. There is, but for the under 23 group, which is going to represent us in the Asian Cup qualifiers or Olympic qualifiers, I don't know how to put it, but AIFF has been really disappointed, really disappointing.
Right, and if you look at today's result, China played out a nil-nil draw. We all know that Maldives have withdrawn their uh, withdrawn themselves from playing the tournament. But when you look at the match today, I did watch 5 to 10 minutes, not more. Uh, China is beatable. If we would have got a good preparatory camp, I believe China was beatable and is beatable right now. Also, I'll still put my money in. Let's say we could defeat China in probably We should have just hung around with UAE team, and who knows, we can reach the knockout stages. So yeah, we and as Soumik said, the under 23 side is the most least looked after uh, age group by the AIF. Uh, and as Srijon said that the new regime is uh, taking time and doing this and that, but I believe they've just completed 1 year, and in 1 year many things could have happened. You just had a fresh start to the season where you could have just communicated with the clubs and say like, guys, these are the games, the senior team games, and these are the under 23 games we are looking at. We need your support. And also the second point, this will be the first time where IPL and ISL will be colliding, if reports are to be believed. Usually what happens is when the season starts at in July and ends in March, just before the start of IPL. But this season it doesn't look like. So if you knew that the season is going to be a prolonged season, why not have a clear idea about scheduling? You could have gone on to play the season up till May also. No, the contracts of the international players and the players go on till 30th June for the ISL clubs. I'm sure I League clubs and the second division clubs have 3, 4, 5, 6 month contract. But in ISL, most of the players have a 12-month, 11-month contract. You could have easily played in May. See, you don't, IIFF doesn't consider the weather, the heat and this thing. They played the IWL in 45 degrees in Ahmedabad last season with 2:30 p.m. kickoff and 8 a.m. kickoffs. So you guys, even though whatever is being said, you guys don't consider about the weather conditions or pitch conditions. You just want to play. So why not have a proper planning? And you don't say you are inexperienced. You see, Saji Prabhakaran was with football Delhi for 2, 3 years, maybe more, maybe less, maybe more. I'm not talking about less. He's an administrator of FD for so many years. Kalyan Chaubey, yes, you can say that he has not had a good administrative experience, but he was a former player, and you should know. You have to talk with FSDL first, and then go to the clubs. It was so easy for them to talk and just sort the way out. And unfortunately, Hiroshima is fighting the lone battle. Uh, the show cause notice. We all know that he's got show cause notice just because that he couldn't, because AIFF couldn't do anything, right? And he had to say it if he wanted to save his own career. We know after 4 years, if we when you look at AFC Asian Cup, if we don't qualify for the knockout stages, and when you 10 years, 15 years down the line, when you look at Slimaj's record, you'll say "Ki, this guy didn't do anything." But as people know that the guy was our head coach in the midst of COVID waves for 12 to 20, 12, 24 months. He had no option to prepare the teams. And now, with 1 year left, the AIFF and the clubs couldn't support it. So it's very disheartening for me to see what Igor Stimac is going through, and I hope he gets all the due time he's asking for. No one, to be honest, when you speak on a larger perspective, if you ask fans, you would want that Indian team to do well and not their clubs, right? So this was my monologue, come rant, come whatever you say it. This was my thoughts on the current club versus country debate. Srijon has already shared his views. Soumik, you can join us.
You see, the all club versus country thing. I don't see clubs doing too much wrong here. Previously, we have seen big clubs like Real Madrid not letting Nico Paz to be part of in Argentine under 20 team for the World Cup. We have seen we are going to see soon. We are going to see Lamine Yamal not playing for Spain under 17 team. I think Barcelona recently struck a deal with the Spanish Federation where they will allow him to play for Barcelona during the under 17 World Cup or Euros, whatever are coming. I think it is a World Cup which is coming. Uh, they have to keep they have to keep their interest in front of them. For teams like I think as far as I have heard, two teams were denying players for the camp, and they can easily deny players if the camp falls out of FIFA window. And if you have already, and if you see when AIF was demanding the players, tournament was already running. So if you are going to give your key players, if you are going to commit your key players to the national side, then you are already making your team weaker, isn't it? So
Yes.
I don't see them doing much wrong here. If you are asking for players from the clubs, then just stop the tournaments at that time. That is a much better option than keep running a tournament and then asking them for their main players to join the national team side. If a team like Saudi Arabia can stop their leagues for 2-3 months for the World Cup, I think we can easily do it.
Yes, right. There was one club. There was only Punjab FC who were not ready to let Amarjeet leave for the preparatory camp. All the other clubs who were out of the Durand Cup had agreed to leave their players. East Bengal couldn't release Prabshukan and only Prabshukan, I believe, because he played in the final. So that's understandable. But apart from Punjab FC, every team was ready to let go their players. Not at the time AIFF wanted, but after their campaign in the Durand Cup got over, they were ready to let go their players. So this is what it is, but it is very unfortunate. Maybe Clifford Miranda could have worked wonders. We don't know.
I think
Uh,
I can understand about Punjab. They are coming to the ISL. They don't have. They just played the Durand Cup where they looked a bit of out of the place. Um, they are signing a few new players who they need to gel in quickly with the team. They need a bit of a time to be at that ISL level, right? So them denying players for the national camp when it is out of the FIFA window, I think it is well justified. We just can't say you can give you give us players and then we are going to say look this team didn't even prepare for the ISL and taking the level of the league down, right? We have seen how East Bengal were playing in the first season when they came to the ISL. They were not up to the mark for at least the first half of the tournament.
Yes, then Bright came
So
and they got.
yeah, then Bright came. Their season started to change a bit, but then the derby happened and their season once again went down the hill.
Yeah.
So it
So
was it
next,
was very much unfortunate. I believe AIFF should be able to plan the calendar in a better way. They have people in their under them. They have people under them, and they should work properly with, as you said, all the stakeholders of Indian football should have that thing in mind that we are here for the upliftment of the Indian football. Uh, if we can come to this point, only then we can see Indian football getting at a bigger place or better place.
right. So now with Asian Games, you talked about the under 23 qualifiers. We've talked about the Kings Cup. We'll talk about the under 16 SAF Championship. But first, the Asian Games. So I don't know. You guys read the interview of Igor Stimac on Rave Sports early in the morning, but Igor Stimac doesn't have the idea who are the players available with him. He begged all the clubs to let them leave two players per club for Asian Games, but he doesn't have the idea who are the players who's going to be the part of the Asian Games. The games are just 20 days away. The head coach doesn't know which players will be available. We have no response from the AIFF as such. Then probably tonight or tomorrow morning they'll put out a statement and on Times of India saying that yes, the clubs didn't agree and things will happen. But your head coach is not aware what players will he be getting. It's utter shame, and it's like that once the Kings Cup get over, Igor Stigma said, I am taking the flight to Shanghai. No, sorry, Mongzu, where the games are. So I'm sorry, where the games are happening. But poor guy doesn't know how many players he'll be having. So it's very sad state of affairs which are going on, and I'm ever since last night, what I heard when I saw the TOI article where it said that only clubs, CMAC has begged two players from each club for the Asian Games. I was pretty sad, and then I'm like, what more does the guy have to do? He's practically begging everyone. When you look in the last 3 4 months, he has begged everyone from sports minister, from prime minister. He's fighting a lone battle with AIFF. Yeah, he also knows that AIFF is like they've left up and they don't have anything. There is nothing they can do right now because the decisions which are taken are cannot be reversed right now. So it is very disappointing, and I don't know what more to say. I've had more rants in this session than any of the 4 episodes before this. So I don't know. Soumik, Srijon, you guys can share your thoughts.
Okay, it was actually very disappointing to hear Steamac, what he said, given that the ultimatum that he's been given, that you can ask as much as just two players from each club. So let's start with the goalkeeping position, one of the most important positions in football. He wanted Gurpreet. Obviously, everyone wanted Gurpreet. The government of India, if I'm not wrong, I don't have all the facts with me. The delay in giving the Indian men's national football team the permission to go to Guangzhou, China for the Asian Games is that the names of Gurpreet Singh Sandhu, Sandesh Chingan, and Sunil Chhetri were missing from the initial list that AIFF sent to the sports ministry. And the sports ministry had their own beliefs with Association of Sai that uh, obviously three senior players would be included in the squad, but then it wasn't the case. So now what has happened is FC have asked. They had six players, if I'm not wrong, in the entire squad. From their squad, they have asked that first of all we cannot let go of Gurpreet Singh Sandhu because both of our reserve goalkeepers in our 23-man squad for the ISL are injured and they won't be fit before the first game. So we need Gurpreet Singh Sandhu. So Gurpreet is automatically out of the squad. Just two players from each squad automatically builds a headache for Steamac because then he has a certain idea of how he wants to play, what sort of football he wants to play. Every coach has that. I won't blame the coaches for that. Here, what is missing is a clear. What is missing is clarity. Igor has a certain idea, which I feel AIFF isn't very clear about. And then in return, which I feel the clubs and FSDL and ISL and the clubs involved in Indian football aren't clear about. Now, talking from a club's point of view, suppose say I was the owner of Bengaluru FC, Mumbai City FC, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan Super Giants. You start the season. You're playing 2 to 3 to 4 games without some of your top players. Now we know how closely contested the ISL has become in the past few seasons, given the top six move into the playoffs. Are you willing to take that risk of, letting go of 4 weeks, let's say 4 games, 4 losses in a row? Are you willing to take that risk as a team owner, who hasn't made money, who's not getting money from Indian football, who is just there for maybe passion, the brand building, the staff involved? And obviously, if it's East Bengal or Mohun Bagan Super Giants, then you have the added fan pressure involved. So I won't blame the clubs. I won't blame Igor Stimac. What I feel is there is lack of clarity in the people that are involved in between that AIFF. There has been pure lack of communication. Maybe AIFF had a plan of just sending somewhat what we would call a second graded under 23 squad to the Asian Games. But then Igor, just before the Asian Cup, he wants to see as many as players he wants to, which is good. It's a good platform. We should play there. We should give our players as much as exposure they can get before the Asian Cup. We're not in an easy group by no means. We're not by no means are we in an easy group. So overall, yes, I feel sad for Igor that he has to take this decision. So he has to change around his entire formation, his entire approach to games, philosophy itself. How it's going to, like, which goalkeeper does he play? From what I'm understanding, it might be Gurmeet from Hyderabad FC that plays in goal. Again, every goalkeeper has their own particular strengths and weaknesses. Which centre back pairing do you play? Okay, Sandesh, if he comes, then Sandesh Anwar, we got that right. Akash in right back, Ashish in, Akash in left back, Ashish in right back. Again, how many players are the clubs willing to spare? That's a question. We don't have clarity on that. So overall, it is messy for someone to be Igor Stimac. He doesn't know which players he can take to China. I hope in this few weeks, at least till the fixtures are released. See, the first thing that I really have an issue with is we are just around, like, if the rumors are to be believed, we are just 3 weeks away from the kickoff for ISL, and we still don't have the fixtures in our hand. While as we have the Asian Games coming up, the Kings Cup in place, we have the AFC World Cup qualifiers slash Asian Cup qualifiers in place too. So without the fixtures, clubs can't really decide. So if you just, I don't know, and it's not been out there in open. Just for example, Soumik is from Mohun Bagan, I'm from East Bengal, and suppose say East Bengal and Mohun Bagan play on the 24th of September, a Sunday, a derby game. Would Soumik want Anirudh Thapa, Sahal Abdul Samad, Anwar Ali, Liston Colasso, Manvir Singh away from his squad? As East Bengal, would I want someone like Mahesh, Lalchand Nungap, Prabsukan Gill, Nanda Kumar Shekhar? These are the four players from East Bengal that are in the reckoning for the squad. In any means, maybe some are not the first choices, but if something happens, they could be called up. So these are the players that are in the reckoning for the national team. So it's a mess. So clubs will always obviously think of their choices. They're investing a lot of money. Some clubs are investing above 50 crores a season. So obviously they'll think about their wishes. What I feel is, as you mentioned earlier, it's February, March when you sit down with the clubs, call their representative. Okay, guys. So the season ends in March, May, June, whenever your season ends. Next season, these are the games that we have coming up for the national team. Sorry, these are the games that we have coming up for the national team. I want players from your clubs to be available during this period. We have this tournament decided during this period. This tournament runs from this to that. That would give the clubs a better clarity. It would help them build their squad. It would help them prepare during those spans where the teams are missing key players, and it would help everyone. But currently, what is happening is it's just like in the dark. The clubs are in the dark. Suddenly, they get a mail that, okay, you need to send this and this player for this camp, so and so player for this camp, and obviously they'll get rattled. So I won't blame the clubs entirely. You know, I understand FSDL is looking into stuff of Indian football, but then there is a time when the AFF should, step up and say, hey, listen, we're the national association here, so this is our plan. This is how you arrange it. These are the windows we are giving you. We need players during these windows. Now you decide. So that's what I personally feel, should happen. And given, well, Kings Cup, let's forget Kings Cup. I don't really hope that. If you tell me, keep your heart aside and just talk with your brain, I don't think we are moving to the finals of the Kings Cup. So let's leave the Kings Cup aside. Asian Games, we had a chance given the group we are in. China is beatable. Yes, as you mentioned, China is beatable. But then, does Igor know the players that he's going to field against China? He doesn't. He doesn't even know which players can he take with him to China. So that's a huge gap. And maybe with time and proper planning, we'll get through this.
Right, Soumik, your thoughts. You've been quite for some quite a while now. Your thoughts. You can speak.
So, so from the Asian Cup qualifiers or Asian Games, let's move a bit to SAF Under 16 Championship. So I think we have qualified for the semi-finals where we are going to face Maldives. Uh, the most interesting part from this SAF Under 16 Championship is not India qualifying for the semi-finals. We have a India Pakistan final on the cards if everything goes right. we
Yes.
defeated India. India, if you see, we defeated Bangladesh in our first game 1-0. Then we defeated Nepal again by a solitary goal. Uh, Both have been tight matches, but our forwards got more chances than the scoreline is currently reflecting, especially in the last game. Uh, Now we will be facing Maldives, who suffered a 3-0 defeat against Pakistan, but then went on to defeat the host Bhutan and qualified for the semis. Pakistan, on the other end, will be facing, I think, one between Bangladesh and Nepal. Let me just check once whom they are facing. So Pakistan is facing
Facing Nepal,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Okay.
Pakistan,
I thought
yeah, Pakistan.
Nepal as well. Yeah. You can
No, I
continue.
think yeah. Nepal, Bangladesh also got a 1-0 victory over Nepal actually.
So it
It's
is when Bangladesh and Pakistan.
Yeah, it's between Bangladesh and Pakistan. Before that, we will have to defeat Maldives to get into the final. But a match against Pakistan in football, I think we have not seen it in a long time, and we would love to see it again. We had one in the SAF Cup, but let's have one more in the under 16 final. And I think it's also Pakistan coming back to this category after a lot of years. They did not have any junior teams for some time because of that ban. It will be interesting to see how the game pans out. So we should hope that the guys win us another final, and we are strong enough to win it. We are the superior team. Now let's see. Let's end it on a happy note and hope that we get another SAF championship this time in under 16 level.
Right. Srijon, uh, any concluding statements you want to give?
Well, our underage teams, given the region we play in, has had relative success. It's when we get into the continental stages that we flutter, mostly, mostly because the difference between competition levels in SAF compared to what we face in the continental levels is very vast. It's good that our underage teams are doing good, but until and unless, this is again a personal, completely personal point of view, we start doing well in the underage Asian Cups and probably qualify directly for the FIFA underage World Cups, we are not making any valid progress. Because if we see squads like Vietnam, a comparison very close by to a nation, they have done huge achievements in underage football, and yet even in the senior level till now, they aren't anywhere that they want to be. So it's a long process. Progress in football doesn't happen overnight. But overall, what I first and foremost believe is our national association needs clarity. What are its priorities? Which tournaments is it going to prioritize on? Get the clubs on the same page. Our underage players, especially the under 17, the under 18, under 19s, whatever teams we have, they should be playing in the leagues. If not the ISL, in the I leagues. Give these players a tournament where they can compete with people and players bigger and better their age. Only then can they improve holistically. So that is a very important point. Keeping them in those, what I feel is, yes, the national camps, the national academies that we have year round, it's good. It's good in the point of age, say probably 16 or 17. But post they're 17, I feel it's time you approach the clubs, tell them, okay, these are the players that are available. Come take them, and I want you to ensure me that these players get minimum of this much amount of game time. Be it CFL, be it the Durand Cup, be it the Super Cup. I'm not telling you to bring on a young 17-year-old for a crunch game in the ISL, but it's when they play against this, when they practice against quality players, foreigners, day in, day out, only then can they improve holistically. That's what happens in Europe, you know. So we have to look at that. That is one point. And but the main important point is, we need to get our scheduling and fixtures in place properly, so that we don't face these conflicts of clubs and country, club versus country, which is more important, and stuff, and well. See, a footballer is contracted to its club. The Asian Games are being held at such a point when the clubs are not bound by the FIFA calendar to release their players. So no player can even, suppose say XYZ player is willing to play for the club in Guangzhou, China, and his club doesn't release him. There's nothing he can do. Instead, if the club appeals or files a complaint against the player in FIFA court, it's the club that's gonna win, because it's not in the FIFA window. So the only way possible is an amicable solution when the association, the players, the stakeholders of Indian football all come together. They understand the roadmap. Roadmap is a word that we've been hearing since so long, maybe possibly for the past 2 3 years. This year we are getting this many. This year we are getting this many teams in. This year we are getting that many. Well, that's not how a roadmap works. A roadmap works when you know particularly what is being played, when do I release my players, when is the national team playing, when is my team playing, what are the windows that I can test my reserve teams. So that is the entire scheduling that needs to take in place. And that is something that is lacking hugely in Indian football.
Right. So, so we'll just end up here. So we quite a long episode. We thought we would have ended in 40 45 minutes, but it is around 72 minutes right now. Last episode went up to 80 85 90 minutes, and this up to 72 minutes. So good conversation, lads. We enjoyed it. I guess you guys also enjoyed it. We've taken some.
Just before the end, I just want to say something. It was at the 71st minute when Petrota scored that goal to give Srijon a
Are,
heart attack.
are. Srijon, anything you want to do. No, no, you have to give a reply for this.
Well played. It's 1-1 this season. After the name change to Mohun Bagan Super Giants, we are 1-1. We are equal. So the ISL season is coming. We'll see you there. Good luck. Yeah,
Let's
and
hope
and
we have
and
good
the and
games
the
there as
best
well.
and the biggest thing that I want to say right now is, I know the passion. I'm a third generation East Bengal fan. I'm pretty sure you could be a third generation Mohun Bagan fan or a fourth generation Mohun Bagan fan. Uh, let's keep the banter and the rivalry till the stands. Let's not take it to the streets. I faced issues. Maybe even Mohun Bagan fans may have faced issues someplace else. It's something that it's time that we as football fans sort of think to change. Families get erupted, families get disrupted. There was this East Bengal fan, a few years back ago, Ronnie Paul. He's half blind now, so he was hit by a moving brick near Kadapara. So it's one example. I'm pretty sure Soumik could have other examples too. But I think it's time we move through that. And again, a lot of people would say the emotion, the passion. I get it, the emotion, the passion, everything. Europe has it, but the same thing in Europe. The people that create nuisance, the create people that create violence on the streets. Please bear my words. It's not the stands. In the stands, you cannot be friends. I'm sorry, me and Soumik in the stands, if we see each other, we'll probably share a few abuses. But on the streets, yes, you know.
Yeah,
So on
there is
the
no need for there is no need for any kind of violence. I am strongly against any kind of violence in sport, whatever sport it is. It does not matter. In the stands you are cursing, you are saying words that we usually don't say when we are in the streets. It's okay, because at that point you are emotionally driven. But when you are when after the 90 minutes, when everything has calmed down, you have to think like a sane man. You have a family, the other person also have a family at home waiting for him or her. We just can't make the game, this beautiful game, even worse than we are making it today, with all the violence we are creating. uh, you see, this whole cycle of thing is, I don't see anything to justify it. There is no right from anyone to justify it, from the state government to the clubs to the fan clubs to us as particularly supporters. We will have to be at a stage where we can easily get back to our homes after the 90 minutes of the game. The game should stop at the stadium. There is no need to be involved with anything outside the stadium. This is, I think, my message and our message. And we also strongly condemn any kind of violence in derby or anywhere related to Indian football or any Indian sports.
exactly, and I completely agree with Soumik. And this is one place where plead, I would beg, literally beg, uh, the West Bengal state government, the police system, particularly the Bidhannagar police system. I would just ask them this much: the amount of effort that you put into stopping fan activities inside the stadium, like tifo, drums, flares, choreos, if you could even spare 10% of that in the streets near Salt Lake Stadium, you would have seen a much higher turnout for both the sides in every game. So I would request them, it's not the stands that you need to worry about, it's the streets that you need to worry about. And it's possible, it's true, the flares, the emotions, everything turns high during a derby game, during any game, and it's their responsibility to sort of control it. In Europe, you have police or the rapid action forces or whatever you call them have a file on every perpetrator of crime that happens during a football game. In India, sadly, we don't, and that has sort of just been a building block for crimes to just keep on increasing because the people in authority, people in power just don't take action. So I hope the people in power, the people in action come to their senses. Please allow tifos, banners, flares, drums in the stands, but take care of the streets. Your focus is misplaced currently. Currently, you're focusing in the wrong place. In a East Bengal or Mohun Bagan game right now, when you see it, there are so much buffer zones that you're not going to have fights happening in the stands. That chance is as high as me becoming prime minister in 2024. But the chances of brawls happening in the streets are as high as Narendra Modi becoming prime minister in 2024. So, you need to have your priorities set. And somewhere, I feel I've visited a lot of derbies. Before the game, the amount of security presence that I see near the stadium, and after the stadium, when I leave the stadium, the amount of security presence that I see near the stadium is drastically down. And that's not the case. It should increase. after the game. It's post game that things happen. It's not before the game. I hope the people come to senses. And obviously, it's my request to both sets of fans, East Bengal fans, Mohun Bagan fans, Bengal, Ghotis, keep it in the stands. It's a very good place for banter. Shed out your emotions, feel stress, whatever. But in the streets, please don't.
Right, right. So we put out a message here. We, I think every fan, when you go to watch sports, you go for the excitement. You go for joy. You don't go for violence when you go to cheer your team. Maybe they represent your culture, your ideas, your from where you come from. Yes, but you go there to enjoy games. Yes, and you don't go to thinking like, what if we lose, and if we lose, what will happen to us, and will we reach home safely? So that's not what us as an entity, the Indian football casuals or the individuals want to have it. But as Srijon said, he's requested both sets of fans to stop this brawl happening post game. We are not saying that A is bad and B is not. Both are bad and both are good, but maybe in future some sense prevail, and maybe when you go out on streets, you don't have 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, you don't have to think whether I'll be reaching home safely or not. So that's what the message is from us. Thank you for joining today. We genuinely enjoyed today's discussion, and we'll be back on the weekends when we discuss about the results and the ISL previews of the teams. So till then, goodbye, Shubhratri. Good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye, good night, good night to everyone.
Good
Happy
night.
Janmashtami, and
Happy
Happy
hope you guys.
Janmashtami. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Happy Janmashtami, everyone. Good night.
Happy
Have a good
Janmashtami.
sleep.
Good night, good night.
Good night.